watch nature, which is what I was just doing before the call, and that was cool.
What did you see, Olga?
Well, I was singing. This is really quite interesting, and singing the new you, and just watching the bees, and it took me back to when I was a child, and I used to do that as a little child. I'd just sit there, and it used to fascinate me, all the bugs that would go around the plants, that you actually don't see if you're just rushing around in your everyday life. And then I got up, and I turned around, and I saw a branch broken on my lemon tree. But I've been out there like several times today, and I never saw it before, so I just thought it was really, oh, poor tree. And so he just let me know that his branch was broken. Because it's in full blossoms, with little baby limes. Actually, it's a lime tree, Tahitian
Oh,
lime, with little baby limes on it and everything. And yeah, so I just thought, wow, that was pretty interesting.
yeah, I love the smell of citrus blossoms. We have a little grapefruit tree here, and it's years old and it never given fruit. It's like a little dwarf one, and then I gave it the jelly juice throughout the year, and then towards the end of summer it blossomed. It was so cool. There was dozens of
Oh,
little
wow.
blossoms on it, and they just smelled amazing. They were like they're like
Look,
roses, like with I. It sounds kind of funny. I said they were like roses on acid. They were like rose smell, but with just so much
it
more.
makes your mouth sort of,
Uh,
citrus makes your mouth sort of salivate. But even if you crush the leaves in your hands, just the smell of them is so nice.
yeah, and the blossom is like it's like it wants to give out that smell to attract the pollinators. So it's pretty intoxicating just breathing in the flower smells. It's pretty cool. It's really wonderful. You could
Yeah, it is. It's
totally
beautiful.
totally just love to have a giant flower garden. There's always flowers in bloom to smell, and yeah, we have lots of plumerias around here too, and so we get to smell those, and they have an awesome smell. We have roses, and yeah, flowers are wonderful.
Well, the interesting thing the other day, actually Monday, just gone, because I work at home on Mondays, and I could smell these flowers, like really, really strong perfume. It smelled like flowers. They didn't smell like anything artificial. And I thought, what is that smell? Oh my gosh, the roses must smell. Must be the roses and the breeze bringing in the smell. And I went outside, and it wasn't anything like that because I was burning a mozzie coil. Because when we get a little bit of rain, we get like midges, which you actually can't see. They're in the air, and you can't see them, and they really burrow into your skin and bite you. So I was burning the mozzie coil outside, so it definitely wasn't outside. I came back inside to see if the smell was still there, and it was still there. And I thought to myself, I wonder who that is. It was such a beautiful smell, like aroma. I don't know what it was. I don't know who it was. I did ask the smell, but I was kind of like excited that someone was there and with me. I didn't know who it was. It was obviously someone I must have known, someone pleasant, because it was just such a beautiful smell. And so I just enjoyed it. I thought there was no point trying to find out where it's coming from because it was just inside the house. So yeah, that was a pretty good experience.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's like the this place is really just like the passing dream, and the natural environment here is so alive, especially compared to all the created stupid stuff that people have, like their four walls, their technology, their pavement, black top roads, and all this stuff, and then I just love to like watch the trees move, like how they just move, and especially when there's like lots of trees together in a park or a forest, and they all support each other, yeah, they are always talking to us, communicating with us, and yeah, you just decide to pay attention to your intuition, and it's there. It's very, very cool, and then you kind of become more in tune with the natural environment life is, and yeah, it's really cool, and it's fun to share these experiences because we get confirmations for each other. We give confirmations to each other about what is possible, what does make sense, what life is, and then other people can hear this. Kevin's putting it on his YouTube, and so they'll be there like the you know for a long time for people to hear as more and more people see us around the world as we become more known as the projects
Exactly.
begin. Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to a post I think Kelsey put on Facebook, and anyway, I went into it and had a listen to it this morning, and we went through it, and then at the end of it, the new friends Dwayne, Eva, and Kelsey are singing the new you. So it must be quite an old post, and I remembered that was the first time I heard that, and it was that very song, with them. And I just thought, wow, it still had the same effect on me today as it did back then, because it made me so curious. I wanted to know what they were about. And here I am, still here.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like the first time I went to, I don't know which website it was, maybe DwayneTheGreatWriter.info or something like that, and I was reading through it, and it says, we are not educational, spiritual, political, religious, scientific, blah, blah, blah. We are real. And I was like, wow, what does he mean by real? Like, who decides what is real? I was like kind of confused. Like, how can they claim they're real? Like, who decides what is real? But as I started to pay attention more, so it's like, okay, it's like, yeah, it's not about deciding what is real. It's about deciding to recognize what is real, and so that's what we're about. Is we're simply we're all on our journey to recognize what is real, and in the process, we share our recognition of that, and together we kind of do what makes sense with the projects. But also it's super cool because Dwayne and the guides together, they reference this true reality so well. Like, I've been interviewing people recently. If you guys have been seeing Kelsey and I on Facebook, and we're putting the interviews on YouTube as well, and these people we're interviewing are wonderful. They're doing cool projects. They're doing things that make sense with the natural environment and the other levels of life and things. But yeah, it's like when we share, or myself and my experience, when I'm sharing our references, such as the all-natural environment that supports all of us, and the invisible isness that life is always everywhere. And the people I interview or say this to, it's so easy for them to agree that what I'm saying makes sense because it's so simple. It's so simple. Life is really pretty simple. It's just an isness. It just is. And that's the easiest, best way to describe it. And so it's really cool, but these other people, they're still very attached to their ideas that sound good, such as like love and light, and it's not that that's a bad thing, but those things are created sensations from the astral realm, and they sound good and they might feel good, but it's not gonna keep. I mean, it is gonna keep you in cause and effect creation by agreeing to those things as the ultimate. So yeah, it's very humbling to share what makes sense and to see that people can get it, but it's a real challenge to get them to really investigate what we're doing and step up and support us and the whole of life. But yeah, it's a cool experience, and it's like a little taste of what's to come. So we'll see how things pan out, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yes, things are panning out pretty horrifically at the moment in Australia. I don't know if you've seen anything on the news or anything, not too different to what's happening in California. And burning all the bush areas, to bring in the 5G technology. It's pretty horrific because, I mean, it's horrific wherever that's happening, but when you know the people in the areas and they've lived there for several years, and they're burning all the bush, they're saying it's an area called Taunton, but it's not Taunton, it's the bush areas where houses are actually nestled in the bush and people are living in their homes, and they're kind of, well, they resemble resorts, that people go and pay to live in, and they're just beautiful areas, and the wildlife in Australia is just phenomenal, out in these areas. It's absolutely beautiful. And they're just destroying it right now as we speak, and they're blaming it on the winds, they're blaming it on the trees, and destroying people's homes, lives, everything, and just watching these young guys and older guys, running around trying to put out these fires that are just starting in little clumps all over the place, And they're saying, "Oh, the wind's pushing all the flames everywhere," but we know it's not. We know it's the scalar technology, that's bringing these fires about, and it's horrific, and it's a huge area, and basically they're cleaning out the Sunshine Coast and just the animals and the wildlife and the human life and what they're doing to people there. It's just really, I just wish I could go out and tell them, and it's not an appropriate time, but I wish they would wake up and just, wake up and say, we don't want the governments anymore. We don't want your lies. We don't want any of your promises. This is what you're bringing about to us. I just wish I could see people just do that and the consciousness change, but they're not. They're still looking toward their authorities. Their authorities are going to fix it up, and this is the awareness we're so fortunate to be aware that we can actually see what's going on and not be pulled down, with our personal selves and get too emotional, but we can still have that empathy and compassion for people, and because we know what's happening there, and it's horrific what's going on at the moment, in Australia on the east coast as well as California where you guys are. So I just wonder if Debbie had seen any of that as well.
Yeah, hello. I've seen a lot of news about the fires. I think there's several fires burning in New South Wales and same in Queensland. Um, um, maybe 100 houses have gone in a township called Boggin. I think it's called Boggin. That's a lot of houses. Um, yeah, it's very bad. Um, and I often wonder, yeah, how do they start? Who's starting them? And like, is it a laser or is it somebody going out in the bush and deliberately started the fires? Um, yeah, it's very smoky here in Brisbane. I can see the smoke haze in the air from all the fires around. Yeah, yeah. I'm just learning how to use this Skype. Sometimes I miss meetings. Like, uh, I think I pressed the notification button now. I'll get more notifications maybe when there are Skype calls on. So, was there one on Friday? Was there a Down Under call on Friday?
No, today is Friday in California, I think. Is that right? Henry?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. There might have been another one. No, I get a bit confused with Skype sometimes. Okay, so I don't think I've missed any Down Under calls by the sound of it. I thought I might have. And the Zoom, I don't know quite how to use Zoom yet. Like, I go into the meeting, but I can't hear anything, I think. Um, anyway, I'll try and learn more about how to use Zoom, how to attend some of the Zoom meetings.
Yeah, with Zoom, you should be able to hear. Just make sure you're there at the right time. And
Maybe I join when it's finished, but it seems like it's still going.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, if it's finished, it's finished. Because the Zoom calls there at like 3 a.m. your time or something.
Yeah. Uh, so there's so much material to read and listen to that Kelsey and you were putting out. It's like hours and hours of material to listen to, which is
Oh
good, but
yeah, you don't have to listen to everything. Yeah, yeah, I know there's a lot, and we keep creating more. Because life is always new now. But it's fun to go back and just when you have time to listen to things or when you feel like it. Some people prefer to read, some people prefer to listen or watch a video or something. But yeah, it's all cool, and yeah, it's like almost like it's your intent that matters, and then really just like paying attention to what you are learning and yeah, deciding to become more aware from that and just paying attention every moment. It's a real adventure. But yeah, I know what you mean. It can be overwhelming. Like so many things you want to hear. Or like myself, I haven't read all of Dwayne's books yet, and I don't know when I will finish them all. But yeah, it's like this. It's it's I'm writing my own book. So. Yeah, it's like it's a fun. It's fun because you get to learn and you get to share and you get to take the time to lie on the grass and, like Olga said, and pay attention and kind of get grounded because all of this technology stuff is it's kind of like pretty funny. It's controlled by the world controllers, so yeah, dealing with subliminals all the time. Things that are unnatural to the physical body, but you can overcome all that. And one thing I was going to mention earlier that came to me that I just remembered when Olga was talking about the 5G is that the more alkaline your body becomes, the easier it is to deal with these things. So yeah, there's a lot of people that are talking about that. So I just wanted to mention that. And yeah, all these fires, it's really, really sad. Yeah. And yeah, that's the ice. I mean, I don't know about every single one, but if you go to the Boeing website, I don't know if they still have it up, but last year when they were doing all these fires in California on the Boeing website, they were showing off, I guess is the best word, their directed energy weapons they were building on their new planes. So yeah, it's there, and it's like Olga mentioned, they've been doing a lot in California. We've been seeing the smoke on the horizon and around us, and it's even sounds like even more so where Ariana is. And yeah, the firemen, they know that it's not normal fires. There's witnesses that see these laser beams coming down, and like Olga mentioned, the public, they're still not ready to really face what is right in front of them, what they've agreed to, what they are agreeing to. So yeah, there is an adventure to come, but until it is here, people are still agreeing to what is here now. So, yeah, it's just gonna make it even more of a challenge now, and then it's gonna be more to clean up, I guess you could say, too. So, yeah. Did you want to share anything else, David?
I found the past week or two I've been caught up in my personal self, always more thinking about material things and have an attachment to. I still have an attachment to a lot of material things, and I sort of got to overcome that and the family dramas, and and maybe that stops me from experiencing more or becoming aware more. So I'm working on that at the moment.
Yeah, it's cool. It's first step is like seeing it, and then yeah, you gotta like decide what do you want, like I see my personal self all the time and it's like, well, what do I really want? Do I wanna let it have this or do I wanna, do something else right now? And it's a process, but you look back, it's like, wow, I can't believe I used to do some of the things I did. But yeah, it's like you gotta decide what you want, what you want to do here for the whole of life, and then then the other things you do, like going on walks or hugging a tree, they're kind of personal things. But yeah, it's like Cornelius said the other day on our video. It's like the guides told him that you got to look after yourself while you're here. You got to be okay so that you can share with the world. So you just kind of find what works for you, and things will always be like going through a little gradual process of changing a little bit according to different circumstances. But yeah, you'll figure it out. And it's like Dwayne said one time, it's like, your intent is like your house. So decide your intent, like you decide where you're going to live. And then when you leave the house to go out and do things, whether it's go to work or whatever you're doing during the day, you still know where you live. Your intent is still what it is. And so that's really important, is to recognize your intent or decide what your intent is while you're here. So yeah, thanks for sharing, Gibby. It's always a bit of a challenge here, that's for sure, but yeah, you decided the challenge and the adventure, and so yeah, it can be fun to figure it out now that you're here and you're going through it too.
Yeah, that's good advice. Thank you, Henry.